Hello everyone and welcome back to Farming Simulator 19. Welcome back to Cybuchowo, Chewbacca Farms. This episode we're going to pick up the rest of this stuff here. I got to clear these trees. But check this out. I was doing this before I started recording and I want you to see this tree. What the hell is it attached to? It's literally floating in midair. Is that wild? I was cutting it down with the machine and there's nothing below it. It's just floating there. So I'm going to see if I can't jump up and down on it maybe and knock it down. Because I'm interested to see if this will just stay like this. I tried running into it with the machine and that didn't work. Jumping up and down also didn't work. It's still just floating. Weird, huh? Now I should be able to get rid of it with this thing. Should be able to just grind right on it here and it should hopefully disappear. Because otherwise we're just going to have a piece of wood just floating in midair forever. Yep, it is gone. So I'm going to finish getting rid of these trees. Alright, all the trees are gone. Now it's time to pick up all of this straw. I still have a very small loading wagon. I still have the little agro tractor. I'm going to be buying a John Deere tractor here very soon, within the next couple episodes when I get the money. And we're going to be doing some more of like the fields and stuff like that we've been working on, where we buy them and sell them. But I'm only doing that to get enough money built up so that I can start buying fields of my own and plowing them together, because I'm going to have the whole area down there by where my silo sits. I'm going to own all the fields in that little area. And I'm going to plow them all together to make one big field. And we'll be planting and harvesting and plowing and cultivating and doing the whole process. Putting lime on the field, putting manure on the field, all of that stuff. We'll be doing all of that once we get our own fields going. But all of that stuff costs a lot of money, all the equipment. And really the only way to get there is either doing contracts or doing it this way. Now when you do a contract, it's essentially the same thing as what I'm doing. You harvest the entire field and you sell all the crops and you get a little bit at the end and you get paid money for it. There's also contracts where you can do fertilizing and cultivating and all of that stuff. But I figure if you're going to harvest the entire field, why do that and make like $3,000 on the contract and get maybe another $3,000 worth of crop at the end that you're allowed to sell and pocket that money? So you're making about $6,000 to harvest the entire field. Why do it that when you can do the exact same amount of work and harvest the entire thing anyway? Alright, we are back here at the silo, and in case future James decided to cut, what I was trying to say when I was working on the field was, why do all that work and only make $6,000 when I can do all that work and make 20 or 30 grand off of the crops of that field? That was my point that I was trying to make. There was a lot more that I said, but I don't remember all of it. If future James did not cut that travel time out, then you already know what I said. If he did, then that was the gist of it. So we're going to head back over to the field now and get the rest of this straw. Alright, we're back here at the field. And what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of pick up all the straw. When I start heading back to the field, I will probably cut and come back to you when I'm back on the field. Because I don't think there's any reason you need to see me drive back and forth, because this is all the way up in the top left corner of the map. So it's a little bit of a distance away from our main farm. And I just don't see why you would want to sit here for an hour watching me drive back and forth and then sell over and over and over again the straw. So we'll just pick it all up and I'll just kind of cut out that little part there. And at the end you'll get to see what we've made on the field and all that kind of stuff. And then we should hopefully, because we don't have to harvest this field, it's already done. We did it in the last episode. Since all we're doing is picking up this straw, we should have the time to go ahead and get another field and get it done as well on this episode. which will be very exciting. Once we get the money built up, I can start buying the different equipment I'm going to need to do my own fields. There's a lot you need to get. You have to have a plow so you can plow the field. You have to have a cultivator so you can cultivate the field after you've plowed. You have to have a seeder and a planter, depending on what you want to plant. The seeders will plant wheat, barley, canola, oat, grass, and something else, soybean. And the planters are used for your corn and your sunflowers and that kind of stuff. So if you want to, like, run pigs, for example, where you need all those different crop types, okay, what I was saying is if you want to run pigs and you need all the different crop types, then you're going to have to buy both. That was the gist of that. So you need that. I'm going to need something to do manure with, either slurry or actual manure. I'm going to need something to do fertilizer with, something to do lime with, because I got to do 3 different fertilizing states on each field to get it fully fertilized so that I get the maximum yield. So there's a lot of equipment, and you're looking anywhere, depending on the size. If you buy all small poo-poo equipment, you're talking 30 grand each around there somewhere, 30, 40 grand for each piece. If you're buying better equipment, you're looking at anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 for each piece of equipment. And when you're making a $16,000 or $20,000 profit off each field that you do, that takes a while to build up the money to buy all of that equipment. Now, you can either do like a money cheat, like the government subsidy, and just get all the money you need to buy all of your equipment and then kind of get rid of your money thing. You can do that. And I've done that before. But on this video, I wanted to kind of do it all without a money cheat. So the other option for that is to do what I'm doing now, which is buy the field, harvest it, get all the money you can off of it, and then sell the field back for the price you paid for it. It's still kind of considered cheating by some people, but the way I look at things, it's a game mechanic that the game allows you to do. It's not like I have to download a mod to do it or something like that, like the subsidy is. This is a standard base game mechanic. So, in my opinion, it's just being smart and using the game mechanics that are already available to me to make the maximum amount of money. Because unfortunately on this game, money is the name of the game. All right, we are almost halfway done with this field now. Getting all of this straw up. Straw is incredibly important. And it's something that a lot of people don't even bother to mess with. You can turn your harvester so that it won't even produce straw. But to me, straw is very important because if you're going to do pigs or if you're going to do cows, you are going to have that straw because they need it as bedding. Now, you could buy the straw. It's not very expensive. It's a waste product. So it's not expensive at all to buy if you have like a buy anything mod, which I do. I think I do. If I didn't buy it already, I'm going to be buying it. I think I might have already bought it, but I don't remember. So you can just buy it yourself. That is absolutely possible, and it is the way that a lot of people go. And in a way, it's kind of cost effective to just buy it instead of spending all the time to pick it up. But I'd rather enjoy picking it up. This is one of the parts of the game that I actually like a lot, is driving these lines and just picking up the straw. Kind of the same reason I like mowing in real life, because you have grass that's tall. You're riding your mower or your tractor or your brush hog or whatever, and you are getting rid of the tall grass, and as you go you can see the difference. You know, you can see that line of beautiful lawn compared to the overgrown grass, and it's extremely satisfying. I don't know if anybody else feels that way or if it's just me, but I certainly enjoy mowing. I think it's a very, very fun activity. It's kind of funny because when I was a kid and Dad would make you mow the lawn, it wasn't so fun back then. But see, I always kind of even enjoyed it back then, even though I wouldn't admit it to him. And I actually got a job mowing lawns. I started my own little lawn mowing business when I was a kid and made the money I needed to buy the things I wanted. All right, we are back here on the field, and this should be the second to last time we do straw on this, I would think. Probably going to be this load and one more to go ahead and finish the field up. It's kind of funny when you watch yourself do this, as you do this like overhead view, because you can see the lines. And you can see how crooked they are, how they kind of weave around. And I always think to myself when I'm doing this, what the hell was I thinking when I was harvesting this? Because that means that I was continually adjusting the harvester as I went. I was turning the harvester right, turning the harvester left a little bit to kind of keep the line that in my mind was straight as I was doing it. But when you watch your straw, it's not straight at all. And it's fairly apparent. It looks like you might have been drinking while you were trying to harvest. Get yourself a DWH. Drinking while harvesting. And in reality, I guess you could drink while you harvest if you really wanted to. I don't think it would hurt anything because the computer does all the work on the big harvesters. Because it's run by GPS and it drives the lane for you, and all you do is just kind of go along for the ride. You got to watch your numbers, and you have to empty out and all that kind of stuff. But as far as the driving, it's kind of on autopilot a lot of the time. At least from what I've seen. I haven't run a harvester myself, so I might be kind of talking out of my butt here a little bit, and if I am, that's okay. I'm sure that if there's any actual farmers watching that run harvesters, they will correct me, and I will be grateful for that information. Alright, I believe this should be the last one. We might have one more after this, but I think this will be it. I don't know how I ended up with those weird extra bits kind of in the middle. Maybe I missed part of it when I was harvesting and had to come back for it or something. I don't remember missing huge chunks, but somehow I ended up with like bits of it right in the middle of the lanes, and that doesn't make any sense. But it's hard to tell. I don't drive very straight, so that's one reason why when I play this for fun, I use workers a lot of the times to do these things, is because the primary joy I get out of the game is the management of the farm. I love setting up the business. I love making the business profitable and making a fortune. I enjoy that aspect of the game. I enjoy deciding what fields to buy, what to plant, when to plant. When I'm on seasons, I enjoy like the crop harvesting and the crop rotation, knowing what is going to be good to harvest at what time of year, all that kind of stuff. I really enjoy that side of the game. As far as the actual playing of the game, as far as like harvesting and planting and all that kind of stuff, I usually just set workers doing it and then go and work on something else. Now there's some things like this that you can't have a worker do. A worker will not pick up straw. So like for example with this field, if I was using workers for this gameplay, what I would do is I would have the harvester running with the worker. And then I would be picking up the straw as it was coming out of the harvester. That way I wouldn't have to come back later and do it. It would already be done. That's kind of the way I would use it, the worker, and do the jobs that I couldn't do. Okay, so that is that field done. So we're going to sell that back and get our 84 grand back. Very cool. Now I have to go dump this straw into the silo. and then figure out what we're going to do next. All right, I am here to dump this straw. I brought you along on this one because it's the last one. And then I think we're going to do field 11 here. I bought field 11 so that I could fit the silo in, if you remember. And it was already planted with rye, I think. And so it's ready. So we're going to go ahead and harvest this. We're not going to have to buy another field right now. We're going to be able to harvest one we already own, which is awesome. This is where you unload. I want to show you how much straw I got off this field. We got 133,783 liters of straw. So that is quite a bit of straw that we got off that field. That will go a long way towards keeping our animals good. All right, here we go. We are harvesting this. It is, in fact, rye, just like I thought. I'm going to be speeding this up when I do the editing of it. So if you've watched the other videos, you already know how this works. I speed up the harvesting, and you don't have to sit through like 20 minutes of harvesting a field. It can get done a lot quicker. You always have to stop. Like, you go on a line and you have to stop at the end and wait a couple seconds, because straw will continue to come out of the back of the harvester. And if you just make your turn right away, you're going to end up with these big looping lines of straw that will go off of the field that you own, and you won't be able to pick them up. And if you're like I am, it's going to bug the hell out of you that there's just random straw sitting somewhere you can't pick up, and it's going to look silly. And you're going to end up buying that field just to pick up that little bit of straw. I know it's a little bit OCD, but that's okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and take this rye here, and we're going to fill up our ducks' food because we needed some more in here. And I figured might as well go ahead and get it done now instead of waiting until I finish the field, in case I forget, because I am notorious for forgetting things just like that. All right, so that filled it completely up. Let's see. Yes, completely full. So they're going to be good for quite a while. We still have 144 liters, pounds, kilograms, whatever the hell it is, in the harvester. So we should easily be able to fit the rest of this rye from this field in our hopper before we have to empty out. So that's good news. And then we'll come back with the loading wagon and we will pick up all the straw here and add it to what we already have. And that will be rather nice. We are sitting pretty on cash right now after selling that field back. We've got $165,000. So we will continue to stockpile that money, buy new fields, and harvest them and sell them until we reach a point where I have enough money to buy all the equipment I'm going to need and the fields that I want right here around my silo, so that I can start actually planting everything and doing that with my own fields. Now, once we get to that point, we'll probably still buy some fields and harvest, simply because if we don't, there's going to be a lot of sitting around waiting for our crops to grow. Now, what I could always do is plant my field and do all the fertilizing and all that kind of stuff. And then when it becomes a waiting game of just waiting for the field to grow, I could just simply do that off camera, speed up time, and then come back to you once that field is fully grown. And that's probably what I will do, actually, once I get things planted. Because that way we can kind of build this farm on our own with just the stuff that we are planting and growing, which is kind of the idea of this gameplay, to kind of do everything ourselves. But a little bit of this is necessary in the beginning just to get started, honestly. All right, let's pick up all this straw. This should take, I don't know, maybe 3. I'm going to guess 3 loads to get all of it. We'll see how close I am. Now this field we will not be selling back once it is finished, because our silo actually sits on this field. That's the reason I originally bought it. I didn't buy it for the crop that was on it. I bought it just so I could put my silo on, because the area that I owned was too small to fit that big ass silo in. So I needed an extra field next to my original plot for the extra room for my silo. So what we will probably do is, once we get the equipment, we will go ahead and replant this, or I might just put other stuff here, because I can get sheep going. I want to get goats going eventually. We can do cows. There's always pigs. Once I get a good amount of crops in my silo, I'll probably start doing pigs as well, because pigs are my favorite animal to have on the game, simply because it gives you a reason to keep harvesting. Because you reach a point in the game where you've made so much money that you really don't even have to harvest anymore. Because it's not like you're trying to make any money. You've got all the money you could ever want. So having the pigs, you have to harvest every type of crop. You have to feed them corn. You have to feed them either wheat or barley, rye, or the tricolor. That you have to feed them canola, sunflowers, or soybeans is the other category. And then the last category is potatoes or sugar beets. So you have to feed one out of each one of those categories for your pigs to have full productivity and be really healthy. So it kind of gives you a reason to keep harvesting all the different crop types, and it keeps you hopping and real busy when you get a good amount of pigs going. So that's why they're my favorite, because I like being busy. I like having a lot of jobs to do. And with pigs, there's always a lot of jobs to do. Because not only do you have to grow and harvest all of those different crop types to feed them, but you also have to take care of the manure situation. And the more animals you get, the more manure they produce, and it goes fairly quickly. And it becomes an issue of where you spend a lot of time mucking it out and getting all that manure and putting in your silo. Now, the manure is nice to have because you can use that to fertilize your fields, which is great. Now, pigs and cows will also produce slurry, which slurry is just kind of liquid manure, but they'll produce that as well. So this is one. I'm probably only going to take two of these, actually, because one almost got it all. But on some maps, you will get slurry and manure if you have straw. And on some maps, you will only get manure and no slurry if you have straw. I don't know which way this map is going to be. I haven't seen that yet. So we'll either have slurry and manure going, which will be great, or we will only have manure, which will be a little bit less ideal because that's one less kind of fertilizer we have. But we can buy a fertilizer hopper that we can kind of spread the fertilizer with. So that'll give us manure and fertilizer. That's two different kinds of fertilization. And we can always buy slurry if we need to for our third. I'm not exactly sure if it has to be three different types of fertilization or you just have to fertilize 3 different times. I'm not sure. I've always done 3 different types when I do it, so I might try to do it 3 times with just manure and see what happens. Worst case scenario, it won't work and I'll have to buy the other equipment. Best case scenario, I don't have to buy the other equipment. That's less money I have to spend to do it. Alright, so that's the end of this side of the field, but I think I still have straw on the other side I gotta grab. Let me look. Yep, I still have a little bit over here. So we'll pick all that up, and then that will be job done. And that will be the end of the video. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. We got 2 fields done this time, which was cool. There will come a time when we have this massive field that we're going to create where it'll probably take multiple episodes just to get it planted and everything like that. But I'll try to speed it up and make it so that it doesn't take forever. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see you on the next episode. Until I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do I. Bye-bye.